Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel. This is my review for Rebecca, which is another adaptation of the 1938 book of the same name, released by Netflix and directed by Ben Wheatley. The movie follows a newlywed couple, the De Winters, played by Lily James and Armie Hammer. They head up to Maxim De Winter, the husband's family estate, but Miss De Winter, who actually doesn't have a name in the movie, is facing some competition in the form of Maxim's late wife, Rebecca, who not only is still in the memory of Maxim De Winter, which, that's fine, you lose a wife or a significant other, they're going to stick with you for a while, but there's also parts of the family estate that are dedicated to this woman. So as I mentioned beforehand, this is based off a novel that was written in 1938, but it was also made into a film in 1940 by none other than Alfred Hitchcock himself. I haven't seen it myself, but it was Hitchcock's first American film, and it was really the movie that got him wide recognition in America, and is the only of his movies to ever win the Academy Award for Best Picture, even though Hitchcock didn't win because David O. Selznick was the producer. Damn you, Selznick! But anyway, I haven't seen this movie. I really want to because I'm a big Hitchcock fan, and I feel like it's one of his most important movies that I need to see. But at the same time, I'm very glad that I didn't see this movie in prep for reviewing this adaptation here by Ben Wheatley, because I don't need to think back on an Alfred Hitchcock movie just to tell you guys how bad this is. If I had seen the Hitchcock movie before reviewing this version here, I probably would not end with the comparisons of how his is better than this one. So you're safe from that. A film should have to stand on its own and not compared to any other type of source, even if it's based off a book. And this movie here is just so bad. Like, it's really... I'm not going to say it's amazingly bad or just atrocious in any way, but it's just not good. There's really hardly anything in this movie that I can recommend as good. And the biggest problem I have with the movie is that it's so awkwardly directed. There are moments in this movie where characters are talking, but then there will be some random shots of whatever inserted into these dialogue scenes when they should be focusing on the characters. Scenes abruptly end without any sort of conclusion or transition into the next scene. There are montages in this movie that are terribly paced. The dialogue is horrible. Like, this movie really does have a soap opera quality about itself in a way where it just feels so ham-fisted, and the way the actors deliver the dialogue in this movie is just laughable. Which is another big problem with the movie, is that it's supposed to be a thriller, it's supposed to make you feel tense, but there are several moments in this movie that are just downright hilarious. There is a moment in this movie that is so unbelievably funny that I actually had to rewind just to make sure what I saw actually happened. It involves a character who's talking to Lily James, and then he checks the time on his watch, but the way the actor checks his watch is so overdramatic, and on top of all that, there's a sound effect when he lifts up his arm. Like, it's pretty much like this. And I'm not making that up. I seriously did rewind it just to make sure what I saw actually happened, and it's hilarious, which, again, for a thriller is not a good sign at all. To be honest, I'm actually surprised that this movie is as bad as it is. Again, not because it's absolutely atrocious or mind-blowingly bad, but because of some of the people involved with this movie. When it comes to Ben Wheatley, I have to be honest, I'm not too familiar with his movies, but I've seen Free Fire, which is his action movie from 2017, that I think is one of the most underrated movies of the last decade. So I really dug that movie, and I thought it had a very interesting style to it, which surprised me with Rebecca because, while I understand that this is a totally different movie than what Free Fire was, this movie doesn't really have a sense of style to it. It's just kind of bland. And then in terms of the actors, Lily James, she's above this. Like, I loved Lily James, and I feel like she could definitely do better than this movie here, because what she has to work with is really almost embarrassing for the type of actress that she is. And I know some people out there want to bring up Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, but everything involving her in that movie is fantastic. It's just all the stuff involving the cast from the first movie is terrible. And as for Armie Hammer, he's probably the one actor in the movie that got it the worst, because Lily James does try with what she's given. Armie Hammer doesn't really seem to try that much, and he's the one character who has the more psychological breakdowns than Lily James. He has moments in the movie where he goes crazy, where he might snap at Lily James's character, and again, it's supposed to be thrilling, but the way Armie Hammer plays this character, it comes across as hilarious. And again, that's not good. Anytime Armie Hammer in this movie is upset, he does something crazy, or his character faces something that reminds him of Rebecca, it's just flat out hilarious. So I can't really blame both these actors because they're really not given anything to work with, and Ben Wheatley's direction is just so awkward and so bad that it just really cripples the actors. The only other good thing I can say about the movie, outside the fact that Lily James does try, is that the production design and costumes look good, but, I mean, that's not much else to it. The costumes and production design don't stand out as being amazing. Those areas are very competent in terms of how they're done. They fit the time periods perfectly, but that's about it. This is just terrible. Again, this is not a movie that's so bad you have to see it to believe it, but you will be surprised, given the amount of talent that went into it, how bad it actually is. From the awkward direction, the unintentionally funny moments, to the ineffective thrills. Like, it's just more sad than anything, and it just really did feel like a waste of my time. So don't waste your money. It never made me angry, I'll say that. And again, the fact that I haven't seen the Hitchcock movie is probably a blessing in disguise because I don't have to compare that to this one here. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is just terrible. And there you go, that's my review for Rebecca. Now I want to know what you guys think about the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, leave a comment, support my Patreon page, follow me on social media, and until then, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.